I've been making daily content related to real estate agent news since January 1st on this particular channel. Now, I've been making similar content in other channels, of course, but for this particular channel, it's just based on agent news. That's why we call it Agent Daily News. And a lot of the videos have talked about this commission topic. We've talked about all the settlements, all the new lawsuits that come about every single week. So of course we covered NAR's $418 million proposed settlement, and we went into it in detail. And so that's been something that we've been focused on here internally for a while now. So I've been watching other people's content just to see what they're saying and really understand what other people's view is on the matter, along with reading a ton of articles, both from the real estate agent perspective and how it affects us, along with the media, along with the mainstream media, what's being shared. Now, I say all that as a backdrop to really highlight how much I've been thinking about this topic for a while, how much I've really been trying to understand, well, what does this mean for the future, which I've covered other videos here the last couple of days that talk about that, the good and the bad. But today I want to talk about the agent that's ultimately going to win in the new norm, in the new way of doing real estate. So not to bury the lead any more than I have already, I think new agents are going to absolutely clean up. I think brand new agents, not all of them, but brand new agents for the majority, so for the most part, are going to be the ones that outpace agents that have been in the industry for a while. Now, why is that the case? Well, number one, there's really no bad habits, right? Well, they might bring some other bad habits from the other industry, but as far as bad habits that relate to how real estate is going to be done now, well, they don't know any better. And that's actually a good thing in this particular case, because we more established agents, we agents that have been in the field a little bit longer, whether we've had extraordinary success or moderate success, we have our own mindset. We have our own way of doing business. So think about if you've been in the industry for 8 years or so. Well, there's a lot of previous clients that you've worked with, and you've worked with them in some way. So you've helped a lot of buyers get into homes traditionally, because most of us start with the buyer side, then get into listing side, and that seems to be the career progression for real estate agents. Well, now with working with buyers becomes a little bit more challenging. There's a bit more, I won't say convincing, a little bit more selling, a little bit more establishing value proposition, communicating that value proposition, and ultimately sharing your value. Well, that's something that you didn't necessarily have to do the first time. Now, I'm speaking in broad terms, of course. There's some agents that absolutely, beyond belief, are effective communicators, effective storytellers, effective at sharing the value. But then there's other agents, I fall into this category starting out. Anybody that would have me, I would be working with them. Just completely upfront with you there, right? So a lot of those past relationships that we help get into a home, well, now we are going to be working with them in a little bit different, in a different fashion. So not only are we going to help them ideally sell their home, but we also have to have this conversation about offering buyer commissions and also from helping them buy again, right? So for brand new agents, they don't necessarily have this issue. So they bring their past experiences, whether it's their first job, they just got licensed, that whether they're 18 years old or 38 years old or 58 years old, does not matter. This is not an age thing. This is more of an experience thing. So regardless of if this is the first career, second career, fifth career for the new agent, I think they're going to be at an advantage because they don't know any better. They don't know how things used to be. So we're going to find ourselves, myself included, saying, well, back in my day, back when I used to do this, right? So that's not going to be a thing for new agents. So they haven't learned the bad habits quite yet. Now, again, I'm not saying that every single new agent is going to outpace and kick everybody's butt, but I think the new agents are going to be at such an advantage now moving forward. And full disclosure, my sister this week will get licensed, right? So she's been working on this for months, studying, doing all the test prep and everything else. So my sister, I firmly do believe, as she's entering the business right now, well, here in about a week, when she passes, so when she takes her exam, she's going to be at a incredible advantage. Now, here initially, it's going to be a little bit a little bit bumpy because we don't necessarily know what is going to happen, down to the very last addendum or last amendment that we're going to need to do. But the newer agents that are getting into this new way of doing business, that are going to have these conversations with buyers, are going to treat buyers more like sellers at this point, because at this point you're looking at both sides of the equation and really trying to establish your value proposition in a similar way. So we know that with listings, we took those a little bit more seriously. We came in with a bit more preparation. For the buyer side, maybe not as much. Now, this could be me projecting, but I think a lot of us do fall under that camp, right? So there's a reason that whenever we enter the industry, we were working with buyers, and then eventually graduated or moved up into the listing side of the equation and primarily be a listing agent. It's rare that new agents become listing agents right out of the gate, right? So it's something that I've been thinking about for quite a bit. I do think that new agents are going to be at an advantage from that perspective. Now, of course, they are at a disadvantage from a learning curve. They don't know the business altogether, of course. So they're learning the business for sure. But as far as the challenges that they're going to face, it's not all going to be perfect. We talked about the learning curve just now, but also understanding, I believe there's going to be less agents that get into the industry altogether. And I think that agents, the lifespan of an agent, if the average agent stayed in business, let's say an average of 9 months that got licensed, that's going to be accelerated and much less moving forward. Now, why is that the case? Well, whenever you got into the industry and were able to make a sale within the first 2, 3, 4 months, well, that big pop, whatever commission that would be, 8, 10, 15, whatever it was, well, that would hold you over and kept the dream alive a little bit longer. Well, now, when you're having these conversations, it is going to be a bit more challenging, and really understand where your commission is going to be coming from and really understand what it's going to actually be. So from a life cycle of an agent or the career of an agent, yeah, the startup is going to be challenging, no question. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy and that new agents are going to beat everybody's butts, but I think that they're more well positioned than we, given that we've been established, we've been doing business the way that we've been doing it for the longest time, because that's the way it was being done. So now new agents are going to have an advantage from that standpoint. But again, make no mistake, it's going to be challenging for an agent altogether, because the first couple of months, you might not be seeing that initial pop that you would experience if you took a client over to a new construction. It was a little bit less easy, a little bit less harder, right? Maybe helping one of your friends, one of your acquaintances go search for a home because the compensation was a unilateral form of compensation that you knew that you were going to get paid. Now it's not as cut and dry, right? So anyway, I just want to share a little bit about that. I do think that new agents are going to be positioned to really excel in the coming years for sure. Maybe not necessarily this month or next next couple of months as everything gets defined, but I think as new agents enter the new norm, they're gonna really understand the new norm a lot better and are gonna be able to accelerate their growth a little bit quicker. Anyway, so let me know what you think down in the comment section down below. Who is positioned to win? Who is positioned to lose? From an agent perspective, we understand from the client perspective, the buyers may not be at the best. It might not be in their best interest, especially first-time home buyers. A lot of folks are going to find it very, very challenging to purchase their first home altogether. But anyway, let me know down in the comment section down below. I'll see you in the next one.